bottle of lotion and Kleenex right now.
Oh, Lord.
Halloween in space.
You know?
I'm ready to roll.
Oh God, my heart hurts. Ooh, you're right. Pass the Kleenex.
That's alright, you son of a bitch.
Such an ass.
You've ruined most of my life. God damn it, Ken.
Well, you could have gone with Joe Anderson.
I think you're a fucking nerd.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Scare Bears podcast, the only podcast where killing is the key to being number one. I am one half of your great host, Ken, aka Wild and Crazy 320 and all the socials. And with me, as always, is the host with the most, not Beetlejuice, but Rev Horror. Rev, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good today, Ken. How you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. Seen any what's a movie recommendation you watch this movie that you want to talk about?
Oh man, I just got to check out Oddity, it's coming to theaters I think the beginning of next month. It's so fucking creepy, man. So damn creepy. It's got this wooden mannequin character that just heebed my fucking jeebies. I loved it.
That is awesome. Guess what, Rev? I got a little treat for you today.
Ooh.
Little treat for you and the audience. We are joined by a special guest. The first episode with 3 people. That's right. The gruesome twosome is now the terrifying threesome. We are going to introduce to you Brad. Brad, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good, man. How are you guys? Thanks for having me on.
We are doing well, as you have heard. Brad, what movie did you watch this weekend that you want to tell people about?
The most recent movie I saw that I actually thought was pretty dang good was Sting, about the killer spider. Only this one was from space, so way more intense.
Sting was actually really fucking good. I'm going to second that one. I was surprised.
Yeah, between that and that Infestation movie on Shudder, this may be the year for the sleeper spider hit.
As somebody who doesn't necessarily enjoy spiders, that moniker for this year does not make me happy. Just gonna throw that out there.
Year of the Spider is my favorite year on the Chinese calendar, by the way.
Nice.
All right. The reason I have brought these two together and the reason that we have invited Brad onto the show is because we are going to talk this week about the 10 best kills that happen in horror movies. That's right. The 10 best scenes, not overall scene, because this is where I kind of got tripped up myself when making the list. We're going to go 10 best kills. So let me ask you two a question. If you had to define the list of 10 and you said, listen, I don't want to do the overall scene, but I want to do the overall kill, what are you looking for?
You know, being a fan of 80s horror, that's the big thing for me is that it's got to be that cheesy, amazing, just gory, like super out there extreme type kill, which actually the kills on my list today are generally not. Today I kind of picked more kills that affected me personally or kills that I thought in particular were kind of had a lasting impact. But normally I actually made a list for the website, the top 10 most creative kills, because when I'm looking for enjoyment in a kill, that's really my big thing. But today I made myself a challenge. I said I'm not going to put a single one of my top 10 most creative kills in this list. So hopefully I'll give a little bit of something to.
Interesting. And if people wanted to check out that article, where would they go?
That is my site, thehorrorrevolution.com, Horror Revolution with 2 R's. And we've got a top 10 section with all kinds of top 10 lists. That just happens to be one of them.
Look who's got his own website. Oh.
That's right, man. And pause here for just a second. I'm actually going to move to another room because I actually don't think I do have a good connection.
No worries.
It's not like I have a mansion or anything, but for some reason it doesn't work. Alexa, turn on overhead light.
Oh, look who's all fancy with their smart light bulbs.
Yeah, you know...
Turn on your light. Ooh, I don't live in a mansion, but I have smart light bulbs. I believe the conversation was get to a better internet connection, not Rev brag about your shit.
Dude, you know, it's funny. We had a couple of weeks ago, the internet went off at the house and we lost complete Wi-Fi for everything, which is, I mean, that's shitty anyway. Really sucks when Alexa controls all your lights and you can't turn your lights on or off anymore.
Oh, yeah, man. That's
yeah, I just had to go outside in the dark constantly because I couldn't turn the fucking outside lights on.
Well, Brad, do you have automatic lights?
No, I'm not fancy like Rev.
Brad just shoots the lights out when he's done.
Yeah, he's done with this a la Simpsons style. He just walks to the house with the gun.
That's right.
Rev's the Jefferson. I'm the Beverly Hillbillies.
So, Brad, well, let me ask you a question. What is going to come on your list? What did you think about when you were putting your 10 together?
Well, I might kind of go back and forth. I like the good kills, just like Rev was saying. I like lots of gore. I like the inventive ones, but there's a couple on here that I don't know. Just for the significance of what it is, it just has to make the list.
Very interesting. Yeah, I was telling Rev earlier before you jumped in. When I first made the list, there was 30. And then I was like, that's not going to work.
Oh, no. So when I first started making mine, I actually had a top 10 list already made, but then I sat back and looked at it objectively and I said, this isn't me. I'm known to take deep dives in certain movies. And I just all mine were just way too mainstream. So I went back, reevaluated, and I had to make another list. So I probably had 20, 30 myself at one point in time.
Yeah, because I was at 20 or 30, and then I was thinking, all right, fine. Okay, we can't do that, all right? What are the ones that live rent-free in people's heads, right? Like,
absolutely.
When I look around and I look at people's lists that they make, like when somebody starts a topic on Reddit or when you see it on Slasher, what are people consistently putting down? Because those are usually the ones that stick in my head as well. And then I went to, all right, what's a creative way in which that they did it? Creative to me stands out more than just somebody getting stabbed with a knife. Or if you're going to get stabbed with a knife by a quote-unquote mainstream killer, you better do it in a good way, So my list is definitely, I think, way more mainstream than yours. So I'm really excited to hear both of yours as we go through. And then the other thing that I struggled with was, it's not just the kill, it's overall scene, right? It's like, because I had Cube in there, right? So the opening scene of Cube, because it's that whole sequence of him testing out all the doors closing, you getting a sense of this guy's in this cube, the way that the cube works. And then finally it comes where he's sliced by the grid and then he just starts falling away piece by piece. Don't get me wrong, awesome kill. But the kill itself was made great by the setup to the kill for the previous 3 minutes. And I was like, I don't know if that should necessarily count. We should just take the kill into account. What do you guys think?
I think you're a fucking nerd. No, man, it is just what's fucking badass, man. That's what matters. Like, you sit there and you watch the end of the kill and you're like, all right, yes. If that's your reaction, the kill belongs on the list.
Interesting. Yeah, do you think I'm a nerd just because I like the movie Cube, or
no?
I'll tell you guys one thing, and I'm not going to mention it on the list tonight, but that new movie that came out a couple weeks ago, In a Violent Nature, there's a kill in that would make everybody's top 10 list if more people had seen the movie.
I can't speak to that yet. Spoiler alert.
Ooh, already coming with the spoilers. That's right. Well, the reason that that's probably not on mine is because, I'll be honest with you, both of you, I just haven't seen it yet, but I cannot wait to see it. I'm actually waiting for a couple of my friends to get together so we can all watch it together.
I think you'll dig it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm totally gonna just fucking love that movie. Also, Brad, before we start going through the list, wanted to go through a couple of rules. Rule number 1, swearing is okay and also sometimes encouraged.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Rule number 2, based off last week's episode, country, male, sexual assault, also apparently on the table as well with our discussion of Deliverance. But what I will not stand on this, there is one firm rule that I just will not stand for, and that is Last House on the Left coming up on another list.
God damn it, Ken. You know what? I've had enough of these personal attacks. You know what? In fact, you know what? Right now, my list is now top 10 kills and Last House on the Left. Original and remake.
All Last House.
They're all coming from that. Motherfucker, test me.
Ribbit. All right, well then, I'm going to kick it off. And usually it goes back and forth. We're going to go back and forth. But the way that I think I'm going to do this one, you know what, Brad? You are the guest. And as the overtly polite Midwesterner that I am going to have to let the guest go first. So we are going to kick it off, Brad, with your number 10. What is the 10th best kill in a horror movie according to you?
I'm going to go with the opening of Scream and the death of Casey. Just because that is the perfect setup, man. I mean, that phone call, that cat and mouse game, how he toys with her for a few minutes. That sets up not only the modern slasher afterwards, but that's been recreated and redone so many times in so many spoofs and different movies. I mean, it's just borderline genius. And then to top it all off, she's laying in the yard bleeding out when her parents show up. That's something, man. It just sticks with me.
Yeah, I will tell you too, my dad, and I've addressed this before, my dad wasn't a big horror movie guy, but he would occasionally watch kind of the newest whatever. If there was one that was like super hot or whatever, he'd pick it up from Movie Gallery and he'd give it a watch. But because I was, I don't know how old at the time, I wasn't quote unquote allowed to watch them, even though I was of course watching a fuck ton of them on my own. I wasn't quote unquote allowed to watch the new rated R movies. My dad saw the opening scene of Scream, left where he was watching it, and brought me the video and said, "You need to watch this right now."
Absolutely.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
That's a good
movie.
Yeah, I'm going to have to hold off on my comments.
All right. Well, that makes sense. And it's so iconic, too. I agree. And we can discuss more when it's apparently going to be on Ken's list. But I actually did avoid putting that one on mine this week.
All right. Well, then if you didn't put it on yours, then why don't you hit us with your 10th best overall, Rev?
My number 10 was Christian's death in Midsummer. Being paralyzed and burned alive is just a fucking horrible way to die. And it's beautiful, too. I mean, the whole scene is beautiful, which makes it somehow even worse. Appreciating the art in the immolation is a very difficult thing to pull off, and I think Astor killed it with this scene.
Oh, I agree for sure. And nobody deserved it more than Christian.
For sure.
Or did he?
Yes.
I mean, was it not the fact that he was set up just quite a little bit?
No, he definitely deserved it. Christian's a piece of shit.
No, he was definitely a piece of shit. No, I can't even argue for that. I couldn't even debate on that.
You always know it's nice, too, when you're like, or did he?
Or did he? No, he did. He definitely did. Christian was a piece of shit, for sure. He deserved it. And Rev, you're absolutely right. What a great ending to that movie. I mean, the entire final 10, 15 minutes of that sequence is amazing. I mean, even when the camera opens, like, it's like Christian opening his eyes, and then you have the villager there that's just like, okay, so you are paralyzed, you won't feel the thing, but we're gonna talk now. And it's like, oh my god, all right. Because if that happened to me, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Well, only for a second, though, before you were burned alive.
That's very true. And then you just can't do anything about it, but you can feel it. And that's, it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
All right, Ken, well, how about you, man? What's your number 10?
Well, I do want to inform Brad. Brad, sometimes when I make these lists, I don't do what we call cheating. I just do creative rule interpretation. So
Okay.
my 10th best kill is actually several kills. And don't worry, I took the other several kills off as well, but I'm going to totally mention it later. I think that this scene and the kills count is just phenomenal. We're going to go with Ghost Boat when they cut the wire, and the wire travels through the entire dance floor and just cuts everyone in half and all their
Ghost
limbs
Ship,
off.
man, you're killing me. It's not Ghost Boat.
It could be Ghost Boat. It could be Ghost Ship.
Is Ghost Boat like the Spanish title or whatever?
It's definitely Ghost Ship. I just wrote it down.
Ghost Boat actually flows better, though, I think, in fairness.
I am definitely going to lobby to change that movie or just cut this whole thing out.
No, I agree entirely. The opening kill, the opening scene in Ghost Ship is rad as fuck. Totally
I mean,
agree.
just like okay, and to be fair, it's not even that good of a movie, right? But
No, it's a terrible movie.
yeah, it's like it all goes downhill from there, and I think it's convincing because it's like you have just this amazing opening scene, and there was like nowhere else for it to go. That it was just like, well, we kind of blew our wad right in the first 15 minutes of the movie, so
I'm not touching that one. It really is.
That movie's just so damn boring.
it is. But that scene, that kill is just that's great.
Oh, it's a great kill.
All right. Well, then we're going to kick it back right to Brad. I don't know if you guys could tell this by Brad's accent, but not to dox a little bit, Brad actually comes from Massachusetts.
Absolutely.
Lives in the upper North England section of the country.
I got my car parked out in the yard right now.
That was dead on, man. I love it.
All right, Brad, hits with the number 9.
The number 9 for me is going to be the opening kill in Suspiria when the girl gets stabbed 3 times, wraps a rope around her neck, and sent right through the pane glass window. And that's actually, I guess that counts as 2 kills because the pane of glass kills the person below too. But that is just a beautiful kill. That is, I mean, I love Giallo movies. Dario Argento is, of course, the master of Giallo movies, and that kill in particular is just, that is the most beautiful, most colorful kill in all of horror movies, if you ask me. I don't see anything that could top it.
100% agree. It's a gorgeous kill, and it really it's one of those scenes where it's just like art on camera, and it's so hard to do that, especially in horror.
Absolutely.
But I mean, yeah, he was the master. Beautiful kill.
Yeah, there's nothing I could really say to add on to that because both of you guys are absolutely correct. That kill made like the 5th round cut of like my list to go down to 10. Like it was definitely in there till the end, and it is just an amazing kill and a beautifully shot kill too, especially with the use of colors with the pane glasses or the stained glasses.
It's about aesthetically pleasing of a kill as you're ever going to find, especially when someone's like hanging by the neck.
That's what I thought too. That's one where you can look at it and say that's actually beautiful. You say that's a beautiful kill because it's absolutely beautiful.
100% agree.
Rev, what's your number 9?
My number 9, and this is one that I actually saw this kill on like a YouTube video or something and kind of led me to watching the movie. And it's a decent movie, but I mean, this is definitely the highlight. My number 9 is the Amy Smart jaw rip in Mirrors.
Oh God.
It's It's so unexpectedly brutal from a movie that it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, the movie as a whole. But holy fuck, man, ripping your own jaw off your face, that's just terrifying.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good one. I didn't even think about that one.
It's so like, oh, it's just visceral, man. I love it. Just grabbing on your jaw, like, what was it, the top of the head with one hand, the jaw with the other, and just pulling until it gives. Oh, such a great kill.
That entire movie's underrated.
I completely agree. And Asia's amazing, too. He doesn't get enough credit.
No.
That scene also was just, it was there at the end too. I think I'm going to really like your list, Rev. That was a great kill. It's a great scene. It's an amazing sequence. And very jealous that one was on there for you.
Well,
because I definitely went more mainstream, and if that's a preview of things to come, can't wait to get up to the upper echelon of yours as well.
Yeah, and of course the rest of mine is mostly mainstream too, but that's all right.
Most like Ghost Ship, you blew your wad at number 9.
Well, I've been accused of that in the past.
Well, because we already kind of talked about it, my number 9, just to kind of touch on it again, is definitely Casey's death in Scream. And I think what really sells it for me is, when he's rushing out and you see the parents come down the driveway, and it's just like she's so close, and then obviously gets stabbed. But the thing that tops it off, the chef's kiss of the kill, if you will, is when her mom picks up the phone and hears her daughter dying over the phone. That makes it just that much more impactful. That just adds a different layer to it, if you will. That still harkens back to me. It's not the actual kill itself. It's that aftermath of that. And then if I had to go through that, I don't even know what the fuck.
I completely agree.
100% agree. And the other thing about it too, for me, that blew my mind about that is casting Drew Barrymore in that role. Like, that's just so ballsy to get somebody that, like, who she is, maybe she's going to die. It's not abnormal to cast somebody that everybody knows that eventually dies, but you kill them in the first 5 minutes of the movie. That takes a lot of guts, man.
She was the entire marketing campaign.
Absolutely.
That was her face on the poster. She was the entire marketing campaign.
And then to just offer.
Yeah, I know. And I'm pretty sure, I think I've read that was her idea. Like, she was the one that said, no, I'm well too knowing that they're going to think that I go to the end. Because she was originally supposed to play Sydney, and she's just like, no, I want to play Casey and get killed first. I think it'll make a better movie. And they were with her.
See, I like to think it's that she really only wanted to work like one day on set.
She just wanted that delicious per diem.
That's right. She just wanted to be like, hey, you know what? I want to be in this movie, but I don't want to work too hard.
I don't want to work too hard. I just want that per diem.
And two, for like such a great movie too, with so many great kills, the fact that the opening scene was the iconic kill is just that's a hell of a way to do it. I mean, there's a reason why Wes Craven's one of the best that ever did it. So
yeah, and then if you look at Wes Craven and the other movies that he's had, he's just come up with some very creative kills, which I'm sure we'll get to later on.
Yeah, I mean, like Last House on the Left. Let's
not get too crazy about it. Brad, why don't you hit us with your number 8?
Yeah, my number 8 is the shotgun blast from Maniac, the original Maniac with Joe Spinell. When he jumps up on the hood of the car and blasts that head on Tom Savini. And Tom Savini, to his credit, got to blow his own head up. That's pretty damn.
That is really awesome. And that one actually made the final cut for me, too. That's a hell of a kill.
That is an amazing scene as well. Tom Savini is the undisputed champion of just special effects and kills in movies. I mean, I would think.
He's the GOAT, for
He's
sure.
definitely the GOAT. I mean, there's not even like, it's like if we were to do a top 10 list of makeup artists, I mean, you could have, you could throw in like V. Neil there for like Beetlejuice. She's won a couple of Oscars and stuff like that. But like Tom Savini is just, there's no argument there. It'd just always be number one.
Savini's got the kills. I think if you're going like overall makeups and effect, Rick Baker's up there too.
Rick Baker's also up there as well. That's a good choice too.
But Savini, I mean,
Stan
Winston for sure. He's great too. But if you're looking at just straight up gory kills, Savini's the GOAT.
Yeah, absolutely. Good choice, Brad. Good choice. Way to stay strong throughout the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I'm going.
Rev, where are you going on 8?
Number 8 for me is the polar opposite of Brad's. 8 for me is Bob from Halloween. I think that this was the kill that made Michael Myers iconic. You know, lifting the guy up and stabbing him into the door, the head tilt, like looking at his work, evaluating this kill almost as if it was a piece of art. I think that this made him as creepy as he was. And it's, I mean, almost entirely bloodless. You know, it's not a kill that's going to show up on any like goriest kills list or anything like that. But when I first saw this scene, it just like shook me to my core. It's this scene more than anything else in all of the 13 movies there are now. This is the one that made me fall in love with Michael Myers.
Yeah, that's a good scene too. It's a good kill. I agree with you. I think that is the kill that made Michael Myers. I feel like that, and maybe the opening when you look around and see that it's a kid. But even in the opening, you know, once the kid is revealed that it's a child, we skip ahead till he's an adult. We don't see the kid again. I don't know. I think Michael's got a lot of good kills. But yeah, I agree. Bob's probably the one that sticks out out the most to me too.
You know, for me, it's the head tilt. The head tilt at the end is the one that
For sure.
that's what makes it. It's, I mean, which just
Absolutely.
inspires every other fucking killer that comes through in horror movies from that, because like everybody does the head tilt. It's like if you look at all the iconic killers like that come after that movie, they all include the head tilt. It's the head tilt at the end of it. Bob is pinned to the wall, only being held up by the knife that was shoved so far deep into him that he's pinned to the wall, and it's just looking at it, and then the little cock to the head of the side. That's what makes that scene.
It's just so chilling. It's so well done.
Yeah. Okay. Pop quiz, hotshot for both of you. Just 1, 2, 3, go. Who's got the better? What?
What?
I said shoot the hostage.
Oh,
he said pop
shoot
quiz
the hostage.
hotshot.
Shoot the hostage. All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Who's got the better kills, Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees?
Jason.
Jason.
Really?
Yeah, Halloween's, I mean, like heads and fucking shoulders and tails and boots and toes above Friday the 13th. But who has the better kills? Jason, because that's all he's got.
That's a fair point. Jason's got the sleeping bag one. There's some really good ones in there, too. Anyway.
Jason's got the best kills, but he's also got a whole fucking movie in space.
That's
so
true,
what
too.
does that tell you?
I mean, Mike's never been to space.
That you know of.
Yet.
That's
right.
right. Not until we finish our screenplay, eh, boys?
Halloween in space.
You see like a spaceship dock at the space station, and then like, you know, astronauts come in, trick or treat is the opening scene, and then just blood just flying through zero gravity.
You know, honestly, if astronauts are not trick or treating, they're missing out, man.
That's a fair point.
Sure.
My number 8 is, well, it's kind of the same thing because it's made in the same decade. My number 8 is actually Tina from Nightmare on Elm Street. I'll also take the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, but then they changed the character's name to Chris, which I never. But, and I'll tell you what, Tina's death in Nightmare on Elm Street, when she flies up in the air and then flips all around the ceiling and the walls and then comes down, and then you see the claw marks form because her being in the dream. So good. And the reason that I'll even take Chris's death in the remake, even though the remake was fine, I'm not going to say anything bad against it because I don't think bad remake. I just think that they could have gone a little bit further because of the different tools and CGI effects that we have, that they could have made the nightmares a little bit more, even more than what they were. I don't think it's overall that terrible. It doesn't deserve a lot of the hate that I think people give it credit for. I think that people just look down at it because it is a remake of the original, and the original is just so beloved. Plus, it doesn't have Robert Englund. But anyway, that's a tangent that I don't need to get off on. But even like Chris's death, the reason that I like that one is because the sound is better. So if you watch both scenes back to back, the sound in Chris's death and then even the moments leading up are fucking phenomenal. I love both of those kills. I think that was just ingenious in the way that they did both of those.
I completely agree. It's creepy. I'm not the biggest Nightmare on Elm Street fan in general, and I agree with you entirely. I think the remake was a little bit underrated. I think it's difficult anytime you're gonna have anybody come in and say, hey, you're gonna replace Robert Englund in any role. That's not something people are gonna appreciate. But also, you know, at a certain point you have to. Like if you want to continue making things, I mean, Robert Englund's a lot older than he was in the beginning. If you want to make him the same way, you got to go a new direction. And Jackie Earle Haley's great too. So I mean, if you're gonna pick somebody, he might as well be him, I guess.
Well, you could have gone with Joe Anderson.
I agree also.
You could have gone with Joe Anderson. But then how are you going to keep your pants on through the whole thing?
That's very true.
Ken?
I don't know if I want a sexy Freddy.
What about Joe Anderson in the Johnny Depp outfit from the original Nightmare on Elm Street?
Oh,
now,
just
there you go. Now
give
you're
me a
talking.
bottle of lotion and Kleenex right now.
Joe Anderson as the Johnny Depp character and Johnny Depp as Freddy.
Ooh, there you go.
Johnny Depp now with the scarves and
Depp
everything.
down, yeah.
All I see is Edward Scissorhands in a striped sweater.
Oh, just one of the kills. Just there's somebody took a shit on the bed.
Makes that scene go in an entirely different direction.
But yeah, no, I gotta say, like, it just the way that it was shot, but also like just the unexpected nature of it, because again, it's one of those that no one's ever been killed that way before. So it's like to watch even your opening kill, because Tina and Chrissy are the first to get off. Well, not in the remake. In the remake, Kellen Lutz is the first one to go at the beginning of when he's in the diner. But in the original, I believe Tina's the first one to go. And so to do your opening kill where she's just flipping through the walls, and then just that suspension, you know, where arms out, and then just the slash marks right through the chest appearing and blood spattering. I don't know. I love that scene. It that definitely lives rent free in my head.
Totally
I
get
agree
it.
too.
All right. Well, enough about that. Brad, hit me with your number 7.
Number 7 is going to be the first kill from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. When he's standing in front of the door and he gets malleted on the back of the head, and the legs start twitching, Leatherface pulls him in the room, slams the door shut. That is so iconic that to this day, that's what sold me on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is my favorite movie, by the way. Not just my favorite horror movie, my favorite movie. That kill, especially after they set all that up with the hitchhiker in the truck talking about about how they slaughtered the cows with hammers, talking about the head cheese. Then a few moments later, here we are. You're getting hammered off the back of the head. It shows you how Leatherface was brought up in the slaughterhouse. It shows you how he kills. It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but the coolest kill in the whole movie's done with a hammer. So what can I say?
Yeah, I'm going to have to hold back a little bit on that because that one's going to, spoiler alert, maybe be a little bit higher up on mine. I 100% agree. Great fucking kill.
It's and I definitely want to revisit that because we've kind of based off the previous episodes that we have done. For those that have listened to all of them, I don't think Rev likes this scene at all.
No, I've never once talked about it. Wait, what scene is this?
What movie? Texas Chainsaw?
It's from a little lesser known movie. Nobody's
Little indie joint.
Yeah. It's okay. I mean, you like that kind of thing or whatever.
Yeah, I guess if
you're into that kind of deal.
Right. It's like, oh. All right, then, Rev, since we're going to hold off on that conversation, what are we talking about for your number 7?
Number 7, I have the acid kill at the end of Saw 6, which I actually thought was one of the better movies in the series, especially because of the commentary on the healthcare industry. But man, just being melted slowly from the inside out as your family watches, it does not get a whole lot more brutal than that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one. I would have to say that it is one of the best. We actually might have to just do because there's 10 Saw movies, just a list of just Saw kills or the best Saw traps maybe later on. But yeah, no, I mean, that's a good one too. I mean, that is a great, and it's a great way to end the movie. I mean, if we definitely did a list of the top 10 just Saw deaths, that is probably number sure. I'd have to.
We're going to have to. There's so damn many of them in there, and they're all so creative.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, whoever writes that movie is just fucked up. All right, I'm just going to say it right now.
Yeah, it's like a fucked up game of Mousetrap for sure.
Yeah, that's like how Mousetrap is actually played at my house.
Oh yeah,
you can only play it. Well, you can play it as many times as you have family members, but eventually you run out.
Just imagine, you're like a kid growing up in the neighborhood. You're playing Mousetrap at 5 years old, but you're playing Mousetrap with the guy that wrote Saw when he's 5, and he's just like, and then the mouse is going to go in here, and instead of kicking the bucket with the marble it's going to be acid, and then acid is going to slowly go down the ramp, and then I'm going to burn the mouse's eyes out slowly and surely.
I can just imagine you're the loneliest kid on the block at that point.
All right.
All right.
Let's hit Brad. Move it. No, wait. Is it mine? Oh, yeah, it is mine.
It's yours.
I can forget.
You're number 7.
I'm number 7. All right. My number 7 is actually from a foreign horror film. I don't know if people have seen this, but if you have not seen the scene, you should totally go to YouTube and watch it. It is the taxi death scene from I Saw the Devil. The way that this scene is shot, this kill, right? And even take out the opening parts of the scene where he gets in the taxi, conversation going back and forth, the driver's obviously, just laughing and stuff like that. And I believe that the two characters were serial rapists, so they got everything they deserved. And then the setup. But it's just the knife coming out and then him starting to stab people, but then the camera does the 360 rotation, a la the beginning of Children of Men. It's such a creative way to shoot a death scene that's being taken place in a cab, and then the cut back to the car driving on the road and losing control, but then the cut back in right where the camera picked up on the 360 pan to watch both of these characters just get killed by this guy. It is just, it's taking the regular rift off of just somebody being stabbed with a knife or two people being stabbed with a knife, but then making it such a creative way in order to do it that I had to include it on the list.
I have not seen that yet. I have not, and I wish I've wanted to see it for a long time, and I know that I need to, but I've never actually taken the time to watch it. I need to.
Yeah, for sure. And again, if you haven't seen the movie, you should see the movie. But if you just, foreign films are not your thing, I totally understand. I totally get it. But just YouTube that scene, and I think you guys are gonna love it. That scene is just great. Brad, how about you? Have you seen this?
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, that movie is brutal.
The movie is brutal.
I own that one. That movie's a good one. It makes you not the kills, but the movie itself, really blurs the line between who's bad and who's good. Then you wonder by the end. Of course, there's always going to be a clear protagonist and a clear antagonist, and you know that the serial killer is a bad guy. But the things that the hero does when he starts playing with them they're borderline at best.
If you guys get a chance, if you guys are in slasher, and Brad, we'll throw out your handle later on. Brad's movie collection is insane.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think that there's somebody that I've ever seen that has more movies than Brad owns and watches them. Yeah, Brad saying that he owns a movie is like me saying I went to Taco Bell last night. Because it's an automatic. It's just an automatic yes. That just happens.
And what's crazy is, for the number of movies on his wall, there's 10 times that many in his head.
Oh yeah, so
you can take it to heart when Brad gives his list of the 10 best kills. You can take this to heart, saying that Brad has probably seen 90% of all the horror movies ever made out there in the entire world. you can rest assured that these 10 are especially and particularly great.
That's right. Brad doesn't even sleep.
it's pretty close. Yeah.
Brad just like
No, not really.
Brad's bedroom is basically that scene in Clockwork Orange, like him just like sitting in bed with his eyes like nailed open, watching horror.
I actually told someone I was on the day. I told someone I said I think I might watch anywhere between 50 and 60 movies a week, and they were like, "That's impossible." And I said, "No, not really." I've been doing it for a long time.
That's right. If you're not watching 56 movies, you're just not showing the kind of commitment that some people have.
That's right. You got to pump that shit up.
Yeah, that is commitment, and honestly, respects you to that deserve, sir. You're a soldier.
Okay, but how many of them are romantic comedies?
Oh, at least half.
For sure.
Well, if he doesn't watch a romantic comedy after watching the horror, then he won't be able to go to sleep at night.
I'm learning to love again, guys. Jesus.
All right. Speaking of falling in love, Brad, make me fall in love with your number 6 pick.
My number 6 pick is from Friday the 13th, Part 7, and it's the sleeping bag kill. When he picks the girl up and slams her up against the tree. That is a kill that I saw when I was maybe 9 years old, and that has lived rent-free in my head forever. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it, and really, it's so simple. You got a fake body in a bag, you slam the bag against the tree, that's it. But the simplicity of it was what makes it great.
I 100% agree, and that's why when I go camping, I just sleep straight on the ground.
It is an iconic scene.
You're basically a bear hot pocket.
That's true. That's a good point. I agree completely. And it's if I recall correctly, it's been a while since I've seen it. It's been like a year or so. Doesn't it have like feathers flying up in the air as he keeps beating her against the tree? Am I remembering that correctly?
Actually it does.
It's such a like funny touch to an otherwise just like ridiculous kill, but like you said, it's not that ridiculous. Like you could actually do that if you were strong enough. Like a lot of these kills in these movies, like they're just like, okay, like really, that's that. I mean, and they're great and they're a lot of fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, and especially with Friday the 13th. I mean, that's why those movies exist, is just to have the most like batshit crazy kills. But a lot of them, it would take an insane, superhuman, undead zombie serial killer to do these kills. But that one, fuck, if you can lift 250 pounds and you got a girl in a sleeping bag, you probably bang her against a tree a few times.
And you totally hit upon the iconicness of it. It's the fact of just like, because it's Friday the 13th, you expect that, someone's just going to get hit with the machete. But it's like, no. In this one, we're going to do something completely different that no one would expect. And that's also what makes it so amazing. It's like, because it's like, you could do anything in that thing. Absolutely. And it's just like, the director and the writer were just like, no, fuck it. It's going to pick her up and throw her against a tree just to throw something new at the audience. And that's why I love it.
So we'll jump in now to my number 6, and this one I'm going to have to give a little bit of a spoiler alert. If you have not seen When Evil Lurks, do not continue to listen to this, because this actually is a fairly surprising one. Number 6 for me is the dog kill in When Evil Lurks. You kind of know it's coming because they kind of foreshadow it a little bit. You kind of know what's going on. You kind of see the dog sitting there. So I fully expected, but holy fuck, it's batshit crazy, completely sudden, and it just blew my mind. To do this kill at all is insane, but to do it to a child is absolute nutballs. It's such a great kill.
That was a great kill. It was so unexpected too. It's kind of like you said, you knew it was coming. The camera was behind the little girl and the dog. You were focusing on the people in the background with very little in the front. The camera focuses back to the foreground. You see the dog standing there. You do half expect something to happen, but still, when it happens, it's so sudden, so quick. He's got her. She's gone. That's it. You're like, what in the fuck? It really slaps you in the face. You're not expecting it, even when you are kind of expecting it.
I just respect the hell out of when horror writers and like horror directors go there when it comes to kids. Because it's like, back in the day, taking the kids down were just like, that was like, you can't do that. That's like a rule. That's like a sacrosanct rule. And it's just like, there are so many people that have challenged that aspect that I love it.
For sure.
How much better would the Babadook would have been if we could have just murdered that child?
Yeah, I watched that not too long ago. And I appreciated it a little bit more the most recent time, but yeah, that fucking kid. Oh my God.
All right. My number 6. One of my favorite scenes in not just any horror movie, but one of my favorite scenes in a movie is the chest collapse, teeth mark, bite the arms off in the movie The Thing. When he is doing the defibrillator, collapses right through, the chest becomes a mouth, closes, arms off, raises up the stumps. Just so amazing. That was just so great. That is my number 6.
That is a great scene. That's just so iconic. It really, really works, and it's just like the alien just nom 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 nom.
Oh,
It's
so good. And then to follow it up with but then like no one else dies, but to follow it up with the whole head falls off, in the background, and then it grows legs and stuff like that. But just the shockingness of just like, trying to, defibrillator, and then just to go through with the sound, there's like, oh my God, and then to go through, and then just the screen, and then the raising up the stumps, just like, as you know that he's dead. He's done.
He's done.
I don't know why a company hasn't tried to market like a thing operation game where you try to take the pieces out, and if you don't get it in time, big claws come up and snap on your hand.
Oh, there you go.
That's a phenomenal idea.
That is, you know what? We're making that.
Yeah, and you know what? If you like were to somehow take parts of like a bear trap apart and actually include them into the game, like it could be like a real life The Thing.
Oh, absolutely.
It could be,
Yeah. This is like
And
a
like-
mixture of the Saw and The Thing, right? Because this is like bringing the Saw elements of like Mousetrap, but bringing in the Thing element that you could sell it by.
That's exactly right. And the federal government works slow enough. You're going to get a couple of kids.
Oh, 100.
Like there will be a couple of them gone before they get that shit off the shelves.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and this is a marketable thing to be like, hey, parents, you want to teach your kids a lesson. Why not teach them how to become doctors with Operation The Thing from the makers of Saw Mousetrap?
That's right. And if they survive, we're not going to pay their medical bills if they're hurt, but we will pay their school bills if they make it through to med school.
That's true. Because I'd want that person operating on me.
That's exactly right.
Wishbone's going to have real stakes now. Get it out or lose a hand.
Brad, hit me with the 5. Hit me with the 5. This is it, guys. This is it. This is the turning point, the home stretch, if you will, the top 5. I love it so much. I cannot wait. Brad, turn me on.
My number 5 is the bathroom stall kill in the movie Pieces.
Oh, you did it.
When he chases her down after a big, hot, sweaty tennis practice. She goes to the back locker room. She showers. The killer comes out. She takes off running. For some strange reason, she decides to take solace in a bathroom stall. Why in the fuck would you hide in a bathroom stall? Either way, I love that kill. I love the goriness of that kill. I love the way they did that kill. They used actual pig intestines, so that kill looks real. It's just a really well done kill. For a chainsaw kill,
Did they use a real bathroom stall? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. It did look pretty gross.
No, that is a badass kill. I completely agree. Completely agree. Cosign.
Yeah, that's a good one. Listen, I've never seen the movie, so I can't comment on it. But just describing it, now I want to.
Oh, it's such a delightfully terrible movie. It's so
batshit.
it is insane. It's one of those movies that it's like if Velocipaster tried to take itself too seriously.
Oh, okay. Well, that's it. I'm sold.
Yeah, it is a lot like that's actually a good analogy.
That should be the marketing tagline for a lot of movies. This movie, if Velocipaster tried to take itself too seriously.
I'd buy a ticket. Why not, man?
I would totally buy a ticket to that.
Or as one of my watch party friends like to say, "Oh, that was better than E.T." That's one of the things we say every time we watch a bad movie.
I see. I never know if he's being serious about that. I never know if he actually because hot take.
That's
Central
true. Brad
here.
could hate E.T. We would have no clue.
I'm not a huge E.T. fan, so for me, something being better than E.T. Everybody's always like, "Oh, E.T. is one of the greatest American movies ever made." Okay, fine, but I didn't really like it. So for me, better than E.T. means something very different than it means for somebody like Kit.
I know. I think that people take the movie way too seriously for what it is, but I don't think it's a bad movie.
Oh, it's not a bad movie. It's Steven Spielberg. It's fucking.
I think that there's some amazing scenes in that movie and everything else. I don't know. I've when I was a kid, I shed a tear when E.T. died. I'm just saying. I'm not above admitting that.
E.T. scared the bejesus out of me when I was a kid, so I can't really. I guess I didn't identify with it the same way other people did.
That is fair.
Oh, he scared me too.
That's what I'm saying. He's a creepy motherfucker.
Well, that's the thing. I was a creepy looking motherfucker when I was a kid.
So you just
I identified way more with E.T. than you guys.
That
did,
makes
right?
total sense. That makes total sense. Did you? No, never mind. I'm not gonna go that direction. question.
Number 5.
Number 5 for me. I'm going to go back to Kirk's mallet death in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've already gone on the record. I think this is the most effective use of sound in horror movie history. He just caves this dude's skull in. That celery crunch as it connects, his convulsions on the floor. My God, what an amazing kill. And to start the movie off, wow, it's fantastic.
It is a phenomenal scene. You guys have both nailed that one. That one's really good.
Yeah, we're really smart.
Well, let's not go too far. But, other than that, it's great.
We've already established Brad has seen more horror movies than any person in existence. So if he says it's good, it's got to be pretty good.
There you go. You could take that to the bank. Yeah, number 5 for sure. I would have to agree that scene is just amazing. But is it as amazing as my number 5?
I don't know. Let's see.
The minute you guys see, and that's what we call a segue, gentlemen, without having to offend 90% of the audience in America.
Well, in fairness, 90% of our audience is like 2 people, so
that's true.
We're at the point right now where we could literally host a party and pay for dinner for everybody that listens to this thing.
That's true, but just only if you order off the value menu.
Broke bitch.
My number 5 is when we said the best kills. This one was a lock to be on the list because it's one of my favorite. I love it so much. Such a great thing. It's when Aaron kills the guy in You're Next with a blender through the fucking top of his head and his skull. So not only are you stabbing the blender blade into someone's head, but then to reach back and plug it in so that it turns on, and then just the blood dripping down the side, just all around. I love it so much. It was one of my favorite scenes in a horror movie.
And it's extra callous just turning it on while it's buried in its
I know. It is the nod of just like, hey, I already know that I got you and you're dead. But it's like, we're gonna make this one hurt, motherfucker. And she does it so slowly, and she looks at him dead in the eyes as she plugs it in. And then you hear the thing turn, and oh my God, so great.
Well, the first kill is survival. The stab is the survival. The blend is a fuck you.
Yeah, it's a great kill. It's a great movie.
Yeah. Oh, it's one of my favorites. I've mentioned that.
I had no doubt this kill was going to be on your list, Ken. I had no doubt.
100. And then surprisingly, the same spot that I had, the one that I knew that was going to be on your list.
Well, look at there. We're learning.
Look at that.
We can be taught.
Aww.
Symbiosis.
All right, let's bring it to 4, Brad.
Well, mine has already been mentioned, but my number 4 is Tina's death in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ooh, so your complaint is that I had mine too low.
I think it's a great kill, especially the exploding bed and the way they did the effect with the upside down room. That's pretty amazing, especially for 1980s.
It's basically the horror movie version of that Jamiroquai video.
yeah, it kind of is.
No, that's a great kill. I'm totally with you guys. It's fantastic, and it's wonderfully well done. And again, you're talking Wes Craven. What are you gonna find fault in the shit that he does? He's a fucking genius.
That's true. And a lot of people, when somebody says Nightmare on Elm Street, everybody talks about Johnny Depp's death scene, which, don't get me wrong, it's a great death, right? Him getting sucked in the bed, and then obviously the blood shooting up the ceiling. I still think Tina's is better. I like Tina's death scene better than Johnny Depp's, even though Johnny Depp's is so amazing. I still would go for Tina's death.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Johnny Depp one is just because it's Johnny Depp. It's a cool kill, don't get me wrong, but Tina's is just mind-blowing. Completely.
But honestly, when you think about all the Nightmare movies, besides Nightmare 2, great iconic death scenes in that one, especially in 3 when the tendons come out in the puppetry. Oh my God, what a
awesome.
Great one too. Or Patricia Arquette's death scene is also a good one too because of the line, "Ready for prime time, bitch."
I always remember the hookah smoking caterpillar from Freddy vs. Jason and the stoner kid. That's what I remember.
Yeah, and nobody gives the Nightmare on Elm Street series enough credit for the inventiveness of the kills. I think that everybody, you asked the question earlier, Michael or Jason, and the answer is of course Jason, because that's what the movies are all about, is getting these crazy off the wall kills. But really, Nightmare on Elm Street is the exact same way. It's just supernaturally based. So instead of being just a guy, beating him against the wall or melting the girl's face in ice or whatever, instead of doing those types of things, which are at least somewhat tenable in reality, you've got Freddy making the marionette, making people sleepwalk out windows and all kinds of shit like that. So it really is a similar thing. There's a lot of creative kills in that series.
Such a great, anyway. So yeah, good choice, Brad. Love to see it. All right, Rev, what's your 4?
My number 4 is Quint in Jaws. It's super simple. It's exactly what's going to happen when you get eaten by a shark. It's not super inventive, and it's not even really particularly gory, but just imagine sliding down that boat to be eaten alive, cut in half by this giant sea monster. Holy shit, man. This scene scared the bejesus out of me as a kid, and it's still amazing now all these years later.
Oh, that death scene is so amazing, man. And it's not just like Quint getting what he deserved, right? Because he totally deserved what happened to him. Like that was going there. It's the fact that they cut the music for that particular moment of that fight scene to just do nothing but the sound of him being eaten by Jaws that made it just so much more beautiful.
In that wide shot too, instead of just like this cinematic type view, you just pull out and show the whole thing from like almost like a helicopter view. Oh, yeah. So good. Such a great scene.
Oh, God. And then it's like the minute that he chomps on one, you're like, oh, shit, there's something you could do to stop it. And it's like, oh, God, it's so good.
I didn't think Quint was that bad of a guy to deserve getting bitten in half, but I mean...
Well, I think that it's him with the hubris of breaking the radio that he's going to get the shark. That's what makes him deserve it. That's the turn for the character. You knew he was going to get it at that point.
I mean, yeah, sure. Okay.
I'm just saying that's his Icarus flying too close to the sun moment, right? Where the wax wings have melted and he's getting eaten by a shark because he broke the radio on purpose because he had to be the one to bring the shark in when you could have gotten help and stuff like that. And that's why I think that you have to, at that point, let him get eaten by the shark.
Yeah, all right.
I'd never thought of that. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way. It's kind of like, like if you've got the guy, I can't remember who it is, calling his shot in baseball, he goes up there and hits his shot, but because he had the hubris to do that, it was totally okay that he got butchered in an alley after the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, hey, if that's your position, Ken.
That's totally my position. I think that there's a lot of things that people justify to do in horror movies that just make that they could deserve it. Actually, if anything, we should make a list of people that get killed that don't deserve it. You guys don't agree? You don't think that Quint deserved to get eaten by Jaws for that move alone? I mean, it's something else because you're right. I mean, it's like him going out there and hunting the shark and being the number one is there. It's, you had the opportunity, right? You got the shark. You had the 3 barrels on him. You did everything that you were doing correctly. You have Sheriff Brody who's seen the shark. He goes and radios for help, but then then what does he do? He breaks the fucking radio because he's got to be the one to do it. That's his Icarus moment. That's his, I am going to be the one to do this, and therefore, because of your hubris, pride goeth before the fall, my good friend. You just happen to fall right into a shark's mouth.
I just feel like I feel like if you're gonna have anybody in that movie that deserves a death like that, it's not Quint, it's the mayor.
That's true. I mean, the mayor gets off light. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Quint gets bitten in half, and the mayor just loses some tax dollars.
No, the mayor wasn't on the boat.
The mayor was the smart one here.
I will say that Quint breaking the radio is the equivalent of someone in a slasher movie saying, I heard a noise. Let me go check the basement alone.
Yeah. Right?
So I kind of see what you're saying.
It's like the at the end of the movie when it's just like, oh, we're all safe now. The killer's dead.
Or is he?
Yeah. Double tap.
Yeah. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Quint's death is amazing. And that is great. That is you love to see it on a list like this for sure. Now my number 4 goes a little bit later than that. My number 4 is actually the Kane's chest burster from Alien. When that alien pops out, it is just it's such an iconic fucking death and just so good that I love it. Only made slightly better than in the off camera you hear the other female astronaut just go, oh God, in such a ridiculous way that cuts in for some strange reason that makes it even so much better. Love that scene. Love everything about it.
Yeah, totally agree.
I agree. I can't say anything. I may have that somewhere higher.
Oh, look at that. Spoiler. So again, I'm too low. Brad's with me. I'm too low.
Brad's with you. He's just better than you in every way.
Yeah, okay. No one was ever arguing with that. All right,
fair enough.
All right. I have stared into Brad's window. He's got a bigger penis than I am. I totally understand. He's just a better person than I am.
Was that you?
That was the perfect response to that. I love that.
That will stay in. Okay, speaking of, Brad, hit me with your number 3.
My number 3 is the logging truck in Final Destination 2.
I'm so glad somebody talked about it. All right, go ahead.
This movie, when you look at Final Destination as a series, it's basically all just a series of kills. And it's just like we were talking about with Saw earlier. It's creative kill after creative kill. It's, water drips down the wall, hits an electrical socket, blows a fuse. The fuse leads to something else. This leads to another thing. Next thing you know, you got knives in your head. It's crazy how they set all that stuff up. And there's probably a million different kills from Final Destination that I could mention. The logging truck, and the reason I mention the logging truck is because still to this day, I will not drive behind a logging truck on the highway.
100%.
That's how much impact.
You or anyone else that grew up in the fucking 2000s.
That traumatized everyone.
Yes.
100%.
100%. I'm so glad that somebody talked about this. Okay, so for those of you who don't know in the audience, when we do these lists, honestly, I can't stress enough, Rev and I do not talk about our list before we start recording because we want to get the authentic reaction and then the back and forth. So we don't go. But I did literally message Rev and I was just like, there are 3 movies that I don't want to cut that I think I have to, just for the sake of cutting them. But I really hope that one of you two guys talk about this, and this was literally one of them. I love this scene, Brad. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm so happy that somebody.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the thing about that one too is that you got the Rube Goldberg machines throughout all of the movies, and that's fine and all. But this is one of the few that there's no reason why it couldn't happen exactly like this. Most of these kills, in the beginning when you just got a plane crash. I mean, planes crash, but a lot of the future ones, 3, 4, 5, whatever. A lot of them are you kind of have to suspend your disbelief a little bit to get through that opening, extreme events that result in the deaths of however many people. This one, I feel like if you took a camera and put it inside one of these horrific accidents that you read about on the news, this is what happened. And there's just something that's so creepy and so just fucked up about that. It's so good.
There is literally nothing more I can say that you guys haven't already hit upon on this scene. This opening sequence is one of, honestly, the top, I would even go top 5 opening sequences to not just a horror movie, to any movie.
For sure.
Just so great and so iconic, and again lives rent-free in people's heads. I know, you're right, I won't drive behind a logging truck. I know people who won't be driving behind a logging truck. There are very unique things that are generational, and if somebody says log truck movie, there is only one fucking movie that anybody thinks of when somebody says. Great choice, Brad. Awesome. That I'm so glad that somebody talked about it. I'm so glad that somebody put it on the list. That is phenomenal. So happy.
Absolutely. So my number 3, and this is kind of a unique addition because this is not a kill that you see. My number 3 is the spiked dildo scene in 7. This is the only kill on my list, and I bet it's the only one on any of ours that happens completely off screen, but it's so fucking horrifying that it chills you to your core. In fact, the depiction of the guy, who I only knew as the lovable Dr. Davinko in ER, was just flawless. I mean, just imagining how much that's going to fuck somebody up to be forced to do that to someone else. It was just handled perfectly by David Fincher. It's a horrific scene, and leaving it completely to your imagination was just flawless.
I agree.
But then what do you think about Drill Dough in American Horror Story season, what is that, 5 with the hotel?
I'm not the biggest American Horror Story fan, but I did like Hotel. That's fair. Hotel.
Because of the Drill Dough.
That's right. That's I went out and bought me one immediately after that.
Yeah. Now that's something I'll be sponsored by. This episode of Scare Bears Podcast brought to you by Drill Doughs.
That's where the real podcast money is.
That's where we're getting paid the big bucks.
That's right.
From big Drill Dough.
Drill dough, for those of you that want to get screwed. Gotta have a good tagline.
That's a good one. I like it.
I completely agree. It's a horrific visual that you're hit with, and it's only made better kind of that it does happen off screen, because like you said, you almost have to use your imagination to see how the scene would take place in your head to come up with that carnage.
It is.
Brad, it sounded like you wanted to talk about the 7 scene as well, and I kind of cut you off because I'm a piece of shit.
Oh, no, you're fine. I'm just saying it's one of those, it's just like he was saying, it's one of those scenes where the implied is way more terrifying than anything you could possibly see. Just like you were saying with American Horror Story. I mean, yeah, that's a really good scene in that too, but it's almost lessened because you can see it, because there's actual action. Mm-hmm. When you look at 7 and you see how it's implied, especially with the dark nature and the dark tone of that film. I mean, Rev had it right. Fincher just fucking nails it. Of course, Fincher nails most everything, but
Yeah, you're right about that. And I think that's something too. It's almost like, I'm trying to think of a way to say this that Ken won't have to cut. It's almost like,
Say it, brother.
it's almost like a mind intrusion by the director. Because, you know, it's one thing to be able to like, you know, you go see a movie and you go see a kill. The director's chose to put that kill. He's chosen to put that kill on screen. He's chosen to include that in his final edit of the film. But you bought the ticket to see the movie. You kind of knew what was coming. You kind of knew what you were expecting. But with a scene like that, I don't think there's very many people, especially due to the mainstream nature of Seven. I don't think there are very many people that bought a ticket to hear a story about a bladed dildo kill. Like, there was nobody who sat down in that theater that wanted to see that. I mean, you know, myself excluded.
excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
All right.
Yeah, no, you're right.
There were two people.
Yeah, don't pigeonhole me.
Okay. There was nobody still retaining all of their sanity that bought a ticket to see that kill. But for him to force his audience to consider just the evidence that he shows on screen and force you to play that out in your head to even understand what happened is just, it's cruel, and I love it.
It's disturbing.
It's great.
It's great.
It's great. But is it as great as my number 3?
Yes.
Because, oh my God, I hate you so much sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You don't have to tell me you're kidding. Come on, man. That ruined.
Or I'm not. You know, the audience can decide for themselves. No, my number 3 is actually, it's just one of the most iconic scenes in any movie, and that's the shower scene in Psycho. Janet Leigh getting offed in the shower in Psycho. I love it so much. In fact, I saw that, I've told the story several times. I saw that movie when I was 9 and literally had to shower with the shower curtain open for 2 weeks after that movie. Everything about that sequence is phenomenal. And again, harkens back to what we were talking about, you know, offing your star within a certain amount of time. The movie invented it. And I don't know, everything about that shower scene, from the back and forth camera work, the choreography, the style that it was shot in, because you are dealing with, you know, 1950 censor code in terms of when that movie was made, to have that there. I think the whole thing is, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful scene.
I agree completely.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, classic.
It is a classic, and you know that it's a great scene from a cinematic perspective when you make an entire documentary about that one scene. Like, I can't think of a single other scene in any movie that there exists an hour and a half long, I can't even remember what the name of the documentary is, 1756 or whatever the hell it is, an entire documentary about the filming of that one scene of the movie. It is so iconic. It's so well done. And I'm not the biggest Psycho fan. I know, Ken, you're a lot bigger fan of the film than I am, but I mean, Hitchcock is Hitchcock. I mean, there's a reason why he's Hitchcock.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can't all love the Anne Heche version that came out later like you do. So
look, I've got a thing for Anne Heche. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I've been to therapy.
Before you guys jump in the comments on that one, it was just a joke. Rev does not like that movie particularly. I'm not. You know, it's like,
you don't fucking know me.
It's true. You know what? I could be wrong. Get in the comments. All right. Maybe everybody loves that version better than I do. All right?
Is there a better actor in history than Vince Vaughn in the remake of Psycho? I think not, sir.
Okay. Well, I think that I've mentioned his name several times, and that is Joe Anderson in any role.
Ooh.
Thank you, sir.
What if we had Vince Vaughn as Norman and Joe Anderson in the role? Oh, I like that. I like that setup. Joe Anderson as Jamie's mom. What's her name? Can't think of her fucking name. Janet Leigh. Yeah, Joe Anderson is Janet Leigh and Vince Vaughn.
No. Why can't you flip it around? Why can't Vince Vaughn be the one that gets murdered in the shower and Joe Anderson plays Norman?
Because that would
work so much better than me.
I thought you would appreciate that Joe Anderson was the one in the shower. I'm throwing you a bone here, Ken.
You know what? Now that you put it that way, you're right. Pass the Kleenex.
Oh God.
What if Joe Anderson played the mummified corpse of the mother?
Oh.
Okay, well, let's not get too crazy, sir.
Yeah.
He's got to carry the whole movie with his eyes.
Hey, listen, man. Joe Anderson could play anything. We've already talked about this. I don't care what it is. Joe Anderson could play the shark from Jaws. He could be Roos if he wanted to, and he could eat Quint, and it'd still be just as amazing. All right?
All right.
I'm not going to argue. No.
I still have no fucking clue who Joe Anderson is. No fucking clue.
It's not my fault that you have not learned word who this man is, and I've talked about him so much. Such an underappreciated actor.
One of these days,
As evidenced by that statement right there. As evidenced by that statement right there.
one of these days, I'm gonna watch a movie and be like, "Oh my god, have you guys seen this? This is such a great performance by this guy." And you're gonna be like, "That's fucking Joe Anderson."
Or you're gonna watch a movie with Joe Anderson and be like, the fuck is, what does Ken see in this guy? Which is the more likely of the two scenarios we have just laid out?
Joe Anderson's okay. He's no Eric Roberts, but he's all right.
Well, I can't even. I'm done. That's that.
Joe Anderson makes Eric Roberts look like Emma Roberts.
Oh God, my heart hurt. All right, Brad, what is the number 2? Top 2, sir. End it off strong. What's going on 2?
Well, number 2's already been mentioned as well. It's just a couple pieces higher than yours, but my number 2 is the chest burster from Alien. It is a great scene, and it's made even better by the fact that none of the actors knew what was going to happen. So when they yelled action, everything was genuine. Every reaction. That's why you hear the person in the background saying, "Oh God," because they didn't know what the fuck they were going to get. And to get that, I don't know. If I was in that scene, I'd probably freak the fuck out too. You see something pop out of somebody's stomach and skitter across the floor.
At a certain point, though, don't you have to know that you're shooting a movie? You know what I mean? Like, I understand you didn't think it was coming, but, like, if something, like, pop... Because, like, okay, if you're, like, going out to dinner and some dude falls over and something pops out of his chest and runs across the floor, I get being kind of freaked out, but you're shooting a movie called Alien. Like, at a certain point, you kind of have to think.
I mean, they did that in Spaceballs. They literally did that in Spaceballs, where they were eating and something pops out of the guy's chest. I mean, it's just a
little less scary. A little less scary. No, that's the Alien scene is phenomenal. I completely agree, and you're right. It does give it like an extra layer of like realism that they had no fucking clue it was coming. Which I mean, that's such a cool trick to play on people. I love it. It's like practical joking your actors.
Yeah, if Dominique's line reading in Poltergeist of what's happening is one of my favorite lines, the second or number 2 or 3 would have to be her just in the background. Oh God! Just the way she says it gets me every time.
I love that too when you have scenes that are like completely serious, but something just like strikes you.
That's true. It's just but something. Honestly, they should replace the Wilhelm death scream. That's like in movies with just her. Oh God!
Oh God!
That's a phenomenal idea. I love it. We got to sample that for the fucking show, man.
Oh God!
No, just to play whenever. When one of us has a shocking opinion, like when we're going to talk about the things you've been having to cut this whole fucking episode.
Oh God!
All right, Rev, hit me with your number 2.
Okay, so this is my heavy spoilers. If you have not seen In a Violent Nature, please do not listen to this. I am warning you the best that I possibly can. If you go forward and this ruins it for you, don't come fucking crying to me. I am doing the best I can. I've given you 3 warnings now about this. This is a spoiler alert. Number 2.
Pause it. I am going to insert right here the time. All right, so for those of you that have not seen it and do not want to hear about it, you can skip the time code 10215.
All right, so Ken inserted the timestamp. So once you watch this movie, you can come back and you can watch it. You can listen to this. Number 2 is the yoga kill from In a Violent Nature. I'm not going to completely go into the kill because in case you didn't take all the warnings I just fucking gave you, I don't want to completely spoil it, but holy fuck, this kill was amazing. So brutal. It's one of the most inventive kills I've ever seen, and it is just batshit insane. It's a perfect throwback to the crazy kills of the 80s. It is hands down the best kill in a movie that was full of great kills, and I don't see anybody even coming close to rivaling it for kill of the year.
I could not agree more. That kill is absolutely fantastic and one of the most brutal and, as you said, one of the most inventive things I've ever seen. And this is coming from a guy who's seen a million movies. I have never seen nothing like that. I called it the human pretzel because that's kind of what it seemed like.
It really does. That's a great name for it. It reminded me so much of what Adam Green did in Hatchet. Just the way that like he took these like extremely brutal and gory scenes, but having it happen in complete daylight too, just made it just so much better. It's a love letter kill. It really is. It's a love letter to the people that wanted to see this movie.
It's definitely going to be the kill of the year. I don't see anything topping it.
No.
There was another really cool kill in that with the handsaw, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's
in the tree.
There's a number of good kills in this movie. The other one, and I'm not going to go too much into it because I know even Ken, I don't want to fuck it up for you either. But it's
Right.
it's an excellent movie. It is definitely a slow movie, but it's an excellent movie, and these kills are like all-time kills.
I heard somebody describe it as a horror nature documentary, and I said, you know what? That kind of almost fits it for the most part when you're following the killer at the beginning of the
I
movie.
completely agree.
No music, just sound.
I completely agree. Completely.
You
agree.
guys have done nothing but just make me want to watch this movie.
Yeah, you're gonna dig it,
God.
man. You're gonna dig it.
Yeah, you're definitely going to like it.
Yeah, no, I mean that's all I got to say about it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't want to spoil it too much. I mean, it's a brand new movie that like nobody's seen.
That's kind of where I'm at too. So limited too. I had to, when I went and saw it, they were only playing it in one theater 20 miles away at one time a day. I had to go late at night to even watch it.
Yeah, and I got a screener like a week before it came out, and I was surprised I even got that. I usually get IFC movies, but I was really shocked I got this one because of how big it is. It's a great movie. You got to check it out, Ken.
Oh yeah, for sure.
God,
I
you're such a
definitely will.
loser for not having already seen it.
I'm such an ass. God.
God damn it, Ken.
Just
God damn
such
it,
an
Ken.
ass. Oh man.
That's
And even
all
you
right.
know what? That's it. I'm off the podcast.
That's right. You're off the podcast. It's just me and
I'm
Brad
off the
from here on
podcast.
out. Okay.
I'm off the podcast.
Hold on though. You still have to edit it though, because I don't actually know how to do that.
Oh no, sir. No. They're gonna hear everything from you guys.
Is that my penance? My penance is I'm getting canceled.
Well, our show lasted 10 minutes. It was good. It was nice fun.
We got halfway through one episode and we're done.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Nailed it.
And this right here is why we can never do a live recording.
That's right. We need to do like one of those things like they do on Adam Green's podcast where they do the once a year they do like a marathon and they just do it for like 24 hours straight. And it's just a live recording. Dude, we would get fined so much money by the FCC.
So much.
That's the one they do for dog charity every year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like Yorkie-thon or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep. Yeah, that is a lot of fun.
Adam Green and Joe Lynch are phenomenal, and we're not getting paid anything to plug their podcast either, but it's absolutely outstanding. The Movie Crypt, if you get a chance to check it out, highly recommend it. And everybody loves Yorkies.
That's true.
That is true.
All right, Ken, hit me with your number 2.
All right, back into it. My number 2, Rev. All due respect, I love Quinn's death, but my number 2 is actually the opening kill from Jaws. This, I think, this one gets me a little bit more. I think that this kill is just so fucking phenomenal because, again, you have that iconic piece of music leading up to it, but just when she goes down under, and then comes back up, and then the way that she acts it out so perfectly. I'm telling you, like that opening kill in Jaws, that is my number 2. There's nothing more I could say about it that describes it because everybody's seen this. Like everybody's seen it. It's so good.
I know, right? Like, spoiler alert.
Well, it should be realistic. Her reaction should be realistic. She was really hurt. You know that story, right?
Yeah,
About how
yeah.
she actually got hurt. That was a real blood curdling scream.
That's one of
Oh.
those we were talking earlier about, like how the sound takes you out of it. I love the scene, don't get me wrong, and it certainly didn't ruin it for me, but that like bleh, or whatever she makes like when it happens, just it kills me every damn time I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, and I don't know. I love the whole lead up to it. Just when she's breathing heavy, just the terror, just oh my god, everything. She grabs onto the such a great the number 2.
Oh, and I'm
number 2.
certainly I'm
Hands
not
down.
in any way taken away from it. It's a fantastic kill, no issues at all.
The only thing that would have made it better was right before the shark took his final breath. If she was just like, "Oh God,"
See, that's what you're right, man. Wilhelm screamed that shit. We gotta make this a thing.
Oh Lord.
all right, okay, we're gonna take a break and pay some bills. Just listen to the ads if you can. If not, you should listen anyway because they are just really fun to produce. So we'll see you guys back. Amity Island Boat Rentals is your number 1 choice for spending a relaxing day on the ocean. We have boats of all makes and models, and all our boats are rebuilt and refurbished to their former glory. Also, all our boats come equipped with compressed air tanks in case anything might pop out of the water at ye. You can't beat that. What better way to spend a peaceful, relaxing day than on the safest water in the country? Even the mayor says so. Come get your sea legs today at Amity Island Boat Rentals and take a bite out of life.
As a writer, I can attest that it can be hard to write. Formatting errors and digital word processors can be a huge pain, and nobody can ever seem to replace the ink in those damn printers. That's why sometimes it's good to go back to basics. That's why we here at the Scare Bears podcast are proud to throw our support behind Torrance Typewriters, the first name in publishing. Running strong since 1980, let their decades of experience help you write your way into a career in broadcasting. Who needs teleprompters when shuffling papers makes you look so much more professional? Writing. There's nothing more important to a writer or more conducive to keeping your mind on track than the steady click-clack of the keys and the rhythmic slide of that roller. Content creation. Who needs Instagram? Everybody knows print media will never go out of style, and with one font, all of your content will have a uniquely uniform look. Torrance Typewriters will make your creations shine.
And we are back, gentlemen, before we hit for number one, because I know what my number one is, and I'm going to get, I think that if I know Rev, he's going to be like, he's going to say something. We are going to do some honorable mentions. These are scenes that are amazing. They need to be talked about. They need to be mentioned in this episode, but just quite didn't make it. Brad, why don't we start off with you?
Well, I had, for an honorable mention, I had the opening of Ghost Ship. So I think you were right on with that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the best openings of all time. I think, like you said, the movie sucks, but the kills are good. I have also, I don't know if you guys have seen a little movie called Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2.
Oh, yes.
But there's a scene in that. There's a scene in it where the girl's naked walking through the locker room, and the girl hides in the lockers, and using her psychic powers, she squashes the lockers together, and all you can see is blood running out of the front of the locker. That's really fucking cool. And you cannot tell me, if you go back and watch that scene, and then right after that watch the end of The Faculty, and tell me that Robert Rodriguez did not pay an homage to that movie with that final scene in The Faculty, because it's almost the exact same fucking scene.
Oh shit, dude, you're right. Holy fuck, we were talking about Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2 a couple episodes ago. That the one I actually watched this one many years after it came out. I don't think I was like negative 4 years old when it came out, but my wife always talked about this one because of that scene with the rocking horse. That was the one that got her. That's just, just creepy scene. And that I completely agree with you. Great kill from an otherwise generally unknotable movie.
Absolutely.
Any other ones?
Yeah, I had one more. I had another honorable mention, and it was the honorable mention that I think lined up with yours, which was the things that are implied and not seen. And it's the flagpole scene, or the light pole scene from Hereditary. You don't see the kill.
It was that's not mine, but that is a good one.
That is a good one. That's true. You don't see that.
You don't see the kill, but just the next day, the reaction to Tony Collette when the boy goes to bed, he doesn't sleep. You can tell he's freaking the fuck out. And then in the morning,
you kind of see her head.
Kinda.
You kind of see it fly off.
Yeah, kinda. It's just an iconic scene, man.
It's just like you don't, you're right. You don't see the viscera.
It sets the stage for everything else.
But yes,
it does.
It is a good. So Rev, why don't you hit me up with your honorable mentions? What are some of yours?
Okay, so mine, most of these, well, I've got one of them that's a straight horror movie, one of them that's a horror movie, but it's not a person kill, and two that I don't really consider horror movies, but I had to include them. My first honorable mention is the horror movie. It's House of the Devil. The head blown off in one of the most shocking scenes ever, just out of nowhere, and an incredibly slow movie up to that point. Just absolutely insane. I love it. The second one is the sea turtle in Cannibal Holocaust. Animal death is always horrible to watch. That fucking scene, man. It's a fantastic movie, but that scene makes it so tough to watch. My third honorable mention is the fire extinguisher from Irreversible. Just everything about that kill is great. The frenetic music, the jerky camera movements, and the guy's head's just beaten into a literal pulp. And finally, the last one is the curb stomp from American History X.
Oh, God.
It's only an honorable mention because it's not a horror movie.
It has to be on a list of the best
scene.
kills, though. Jesus Christ. If we're going to do best kills of all time, that scene is so iconic.
Oh, it's so
That shit hurts me.
Oh, God.
I know.
Such a, if we were ever to do, I think that I've been thinking about this for a little bit now, too. I think that every certain episode, like every 20 or whatever that we do or something like that, we're going to open it up to all movies and not just horror movies, just for fun, right?
We're going to be canceled long before 20 episodes.
Okay, fine. Fair point. But like an anniversary type thing, like a thing. I think that we're gonna do that. If we ever do open it up to 10 kills of any movie, that would definitely be on the list in top 5. In top 5 on that list. At least.
Yeah, it's so there's just something so visceral about that.
Oh,
just,
God.
Oh, such a great scene. And such a great movie. Holy fuck.
Oh, such
that
a great movie.
Edward Norton's performance in American History X is, in my opinion, one of the top 5 ever. It's such a great movie.
Great about that particular curb stomp kill is the camera work.
yeah.
That's some really good camera work.
And especially like switching it over to black and white for just that scene.
Yes.
It's just so fantastic.
And
love,
the music
love,
in the
love
background
Absolutely.
just elevates it to another level. And then his look that he gives after it happens to the office. Oh God. Oh my God. Like
it's a masterclass scene.
Just does. Yeah, that'll stick with you. That'll stick with you.
All right, Ken, what you got?
Actually, we've talked about 2 of them. I talked about the cube opening scene, for which I was called a giant nerd. Fair. All right. We already talked about the log truck scene, which I'm so glad that somebody brought that up there. I'm actually surprised that this one wasn't on any of our 3. It was so close to being on mine, but I actually went with Ghost Ship over this one because this would have been number 10. Zombie 2 eyeball through the wood scene. And it was Zombie 2 has nothing to do with Zombie 1, but just the hand reaching through, grabbing the back of the head, and then slowly bringing it forward to the splintered wood so it goes right through her eyeball. So amazing. I love that kill so much.
Yeah, so you want me to go ahead and do my number 1 now?
Oh no, I'm so sorry, sir. Anyway, all right, screw all that. My honorable mention, you know what? I'm just gonna cut that. All right, so I guess
No, don't. No, leave it in, and we'll go straight from that, and I'll just do my number 1 right now.
Yeah, and then my other nominal mention, real quick. My other nominal mention. This is the one that took place off camera. It's actually one of my favorite scenes in any movie. It's when the kid shoots himself in Planet Terror, because you know exactly what's going to happen when the mom gives the kid the gun, and she even says, "Careful with that, you could blow your head off," and then starts slowly walking away from the car, and then you hear the gun go off, and then you see her reaction. You just know. Then you got the low bass sound that comes in after the shot goes off, and it's just like, yes. And again, it's like we were talking about, it's one of those things of just like, you can't hurt kids in horror movies, but when you do, it makes it so much better. And just the fact that they decided to go there in such a visceral, raw movie, it was only deserved to be in there. I love that.
Well, and Ken, I gotta say too, I was actually during the filming of this, I don't know if it's filming, if it's just audio, but whatever it's called, the recording of this episode, I've been kind of chatting with my brother on the side, and my brother just started listening to the podcast, so he was listening to the first episode, the top 10, our personal top 10 favorites, and he said, so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to make my own list, and then we'll see how much they match up? And he got to the Planet Terror, and he goes, oh my God, Planet Terror was on my list. So I gotta give it to you. That one's straight from my brother.
Yeah, that one, the kid shooting himself at Planet Terror is great. Anyway, I am sorry. Rev, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is the eyeball stab from Zombie. Look, I'm not a big fan of zombie movies in general, but this scene is a perfect example of something that's relatively simple that was handled to perfection. Just slowly impaling this chick's eyeball onto the wood splinter, daring the audience to look away and threatening that you're going to do it, but then actually doing it. It's impossible to believe that they actually showed all of this. Everybody loves a good eyeball kill, but this is the best eyeball kill of all time.
And when you see it, it will stick with you. It has that staying power that will live rent-free in your head for a long time to come. It is such a great scene. And when you really think about it, there's not a lot of eye stuff that happens in movies. I think the most other notable one that sticks with me is Game of Thrones, when the mouse just straight through the fucking eyeball sockets during the fight for the fight for Tyrion. But anyway, this one was so great. And you're right. It's the daring the audience to keep watching, and you keep watching because you expect it. Oh, there's no way they're gonna show that. They're gonna cut away. Oh no, motherfucker. Oh no. They show it all, and I love it.
And it's Fulci. There was no way he was gonna tear that camera away from that.
That's true too.
Oh, no way. I actually had that on my original list too, was the eyeball scene. The only reason I kept it off is because I'm a huge Fulci fan, and I don't even think that was his worst eyeball trauma.
No.
I think his worst eyeball trauma comes from New York Ripper.
I actually agree with you. But I think from an iconic perspective, I think the zombie one's more iconic.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that for sure.
Brad, that leads us to you and your number 1, because that kind of ruined Rev's, and I apologize for that.
That's all right, you son of a bitch.
Such an ass.
You've ruined most of my life.
Boom, chicka, boom, boom.
All right.
Hang on, I lost my place. All right, there. My number 1 is the sawn in half scene from Terrifier. The scene where he hangs her upside down and straight taint to tits. all the way down. That's a great scene. And I tell you, I like Terrifier 2. There's probably more inventive kills in Terrifier 2, but there's just something about Terrifier 1 that feels less polished, more gritty, more grimy, more, like something you shouldn't be watching. And that particular scene is, Damien Leone, who makes Terrifier, is a special effects guy, so he knew what he was doing. And that's, I don't know, it's just a great kill. The kill that sticks out in my mind. The kill I haven't seen anything like it. I've seen a lot of people sawing in half in movies, but how they don't cut away from it and you get the entire thing, it's rough. It's rough, man. And I'm here for it.
I agree, and I have to say the only reason this kill wasn't on my list is because I knew it would be on yours.
Well, good. Good. I hate to
I think that you defined it when you said that it's a movie that you almost feel bad and dirty for watching. That's what makes it good.
Yeah,
and it's so true because it's like we're adults, I'll admit it. I'm in my 40s, but there's like that movie. You're just like, oh shit, I shouldn't be watching this. Like
I'm an adult.
Yeah, it's like you wait for it's like you're almost like looking to see if your parents are gonna come in and like catch you doing something bad.
Because of course that's the scene they're gonna walk in while you're watching, right?
Oh, 100%.
Also, I do have to say I like Terrifier 2 a good bit more than Terrifier 1. I thought as a movie as a whole, I thought it was better. But I will say my favorite thing about Terrifier 2 is that it went up on, I think, Peacock. And all I can imagine is just like a family sitting down to watch a scary clown movie and putting on Terrifier 2 on Peacock. Because, of course, it's on Peacock. It's going to be like family entertainment. And sitting down and watching Terrifier 2. I saw that and just laughed my ass off. Because
oh, you fucking
it had to have happened. Like, because if you don't have your finger on the horror pulse, like, you've never heard of Terrifier 2. It's just this, Terrifier 2. Oh, look, he's a scary clown. And then you put that shit on for your kids? Oh, this is how we get people like Brad.
Yeah, it is. Exactly how this happened.
Yeah, I totally agree, though. Saw, Kill, and Terrifier was fantastic.
Very, very good. I knew it was going to be on one of you guys' list, so I'm so happy that somebody put it on there. It is an interesting scene. And just the way that you described it is actually the perfect encapsulation of just what that movie is. Just like you're almost like, oh man, I am doing something wrong by watching this.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay, so mine is, I kind of, we've already talked about this in episode past, so I had to put it on there. It's my number one. It's a scene that lives just in every time that I think about it. Every time that I hear one, I flash back to the scene. My number one kill in a horror movie is the lawnmower kill from Sinister. That scene is just so amazing. I'll never forget the first time that I saw it. I think about that scene all the time. And it's for the opposite reason of what you guys said, because you guys both chose scenes where the camera doesn't pull away and it doesn't cut away. I think that this one is enhanced by the camera cutting away. You see the lawnmower, you see the setup to it, the riding through the light, and then boom, the head on the screen and cut away, and just the sound that it makes and everything else just enhances that by doing that. I love that scene so much. I think it is the number one kill in a horror movie.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
I'm not surprised that's on your list. I'm a little surprised it's number one, but I'm not surprised it's on your list. It's a great kill. It's incredibly well done. Just the music and
the reaction of Ethan, the reaction of Ethan Hawke really sells it too. The way he drops the camera and the look of disgust on his face. Because at this point in that movie, especially at that point, he'd already seen 3 or 4 snuff films that he had found. None of them twisted him up like that one. But then you get to the lawnmower one, and that one you're like, oh Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah, and like I said,
I agree.
I swear to God, you could talk to anybody and just say, somebody says like, what's one of the best scenes in horror? Just say lawnmower. They know exactly what you're talking. They know exactly what you're talking about, and that's all you need. That's all you need. Just like if you saw, just like when you're driving around a log truck by somebody on the highway. It's just that's it, and that's why it's my number one.
Which is actually funny because when you say lawnmower to me, I think Dead Alive.
That's the same thing I was about to say.
Interesting. All right.
But I will give you that. But I gotta say too, it was really considerate of Bagul to put the guy's head in the sack, because like it's way easier cleanup, right? Like if you're gonna cut somebody's head off with a lawnmower, you gotta try to keep that shit contained.
I mean, well, remember it was kids doing it, so whatever could make it easy for the kid.
With their little hands,
exactly,
it's hard to.
Those kids aren't cleaning up.
What? Well, this is why you make the kids play the version of Operation, so that they can't do this.
Call back.
And if they do. If they make it through Operation, then you know what? Respect. You deserve to be able to do it to you.
That's fair. You kind of get what's coming to you.
He's got all 10 fingers. Let him use it.
All right. Well, that is our list from 10 to 1. That is amazing. I think both of you did a phenomenal job, and it makes me actually want to go watch every single one.
Yeah, and you did all right, Ken.
And, hey, as always, I'm adequate, and I survive. I don't need to excel. I'm good.
Fair to middling.
I wallow in my mediocrity.
As I said, I am aggressively adequate. Rev, if somebody wanted to find out more about you, more about your writing, where can they hit you up?
Well, you can go to my website, thehorrorrevolution.com with 2 R's, horrorrevolution.com. I am at RevHorror on pretty much everything from Twitter to Slasher to Instagram to whatever. And of course, our podcast itself, you can find at the Scare Bears Pod. We are going to be the Scare Bears Pod, or I'm sorry, actually just Scare Bears Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Slasher. You can email us any suggestions or any opinions, perspectives, jokes, whatever you got, to the scarebearspodcast@gmail.com. Super easy to remember because the name of the podcast is the Scare Bears Podcast. So just stick the gmail.com at the end of it.
Thank you, Brad. What about you? If anybody wanted to hit you up, see what your opinions are about movies, since you've seen so many of them, where would they find information about you, or do you want them?
Well, I am also on Slasher, the Slasher app, which is where I met you two gentlemen. And I know you guys have said it in podcasts before, but yo, Damon, hit these guys up. Anyway, yeah, and if you want to find out any opinions I got, you could also find me on Rev Horror's website, The Horror Revolution. I've read a couple of reviews for him, kind of ghostwriting from time to time. But other than that, yeah.
That's right. He is the Bearden of knowledge.
Yes, sir. No, other than that, yeah, I'm just on Slasher. Just hanging out on Slasher, which really is the best. It is the best social media app.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Slasher is amazing, and we're still waiting for that movie check.
That's right. That's right, Slasher. I mean, look, the ball's in your court. We've done everything we possibly can. And honestly, we really are going to have to just stop fucking talking about it at some point, because otherwise there's no reason for them to give us any money.
That is true. Or endorse a different app.
Oh, that's right.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, I was like, what if we endorse just a completely different app?
Hey, let's Grindr.
Yeah, that's right. Grindr. That's right. You can find us on Grindr. Brad, I'm right outside your window. I don't need to do anything. That is this episode in the tin. Thank you so much for listening to us. Before we go, guys, any shout outs, any last minute shout outs that you guys want to do? Little shout outs, things to check out, things that you want to do besides watch the movie In a Violent Nature, which is where I'm going to go right now.
Yeah, I definitely do recommend Oddity if you get the chance to check it out. It's a really cool little movie. Some of the most effective jump scares that I've seen this year. Definitely recommend. Super creepy. Definitely check it out.
Before we go, Brad, I do want to thank you again for taking some time out to record this with us. It was a pleasure having you with us. I think in this episode, you were definitely what I refer to as the straw that stirs the drink.
Well, good. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Absolutely. And if you need a translator for Brad, just hit us up at the scarebearspodcast@gmail.com, and we will translate it from Southern into whatever language you speak.
Oh, I thought you were in Ireland. I don't know why I thought that.
He does sound a little bit like Warwick Davis.
Willow, change me back to my human form.
Yeah, he's taller than me.
Okay, legit, that was fucking amazing.
That was pretty fucking impressive.
It really was.
Yes.
Wait, are you Warwick Davis? All this time, I didn't know.
I forgot about me shilling. We're just gonna have to, do it there. Again, need to come out with some sort of intro. You know what we could do?